and welcome our beloved viewers to RTD's News English Edition. As usual, we bring to you the major and top highlights of tonight. The head of state chairs the work of the sixth meeting of the Council of Ministers held today. And on the international scene in Sudan, a month after the beginning of the conflict, a serious humanitarian crisis is on the way. Those were the major and top highlights of tonight. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. Under the chairmanship of His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, President of the Republic, head of government, took place today, Tuesday, May 16, 2023, the sixth session of the Council of Ministers.
Sous la présidence du chef de l'État, Son Excellence M. Ismail Omar Guelleh, s'est tenue la 6e séance du Conseil des ministres en ce mardi 16 mai 2023.
Presidency of the Republic draft the first issue a draft decree on the appointment of the member of the Management Committee of the Disabilities Support Fund. The purpose of the draft decree is to appoint the members of the Management Committee of the Disabilities Support Fund in accordance with the provision of Law number 168 EAN 2022 8L. Indeed, the objective of the Disability Support Fund is to finance national programs for the prevention and management of disability in all its forms in accordance with the government's implementation strategy. The DSF will be used to strengthen the economic empowerment of people with disability. The objective of the creation of the fund is to improve the inclusion of people with special needs in society and their socio-economic conditions through increased mobilization of resources as defined by Law number 168 AN 2022 8L, dated November 9, 2022. The adoption of this draft decree aims at setting up the management body of the Support Fund for Disability. Minister of Economy and Finance in charge of industry, the second question, draft decree fixing the conditions of granting and the modalities of management of guarantee and endorsement of the state. The present project of decree fixes the conditions of granting and the modalities of management of guarantee, the territorial community, public establishment and of administrative character, public enterprises and bureau of projects of public interests in conformity with the national strategy of development of our priority investment programs. It follows from the provisions set out in the Organic Law number 107 of October 29, 2000 relating to the finance laws and in particular in its Article 31, paragraph 1. The present draft decree thus fixes the conditions and procedures for granting a guarantee, but also the methods of management of guarantee and endorsement granted by the state to public establishment of an industrial and commercial nature, public establishment of an administrative nature, public credit institutions, local authorities, and bureau of projects of public interests in conformity with the national development strategy or priority investment programs. The adoption of this draft decree comes to complete the existing regulatory provisions. The third issue, draft decree appointing the member of the Board of Directors of the Guarantee Fund of Djibouti. The draft decree aims at appointing new member of Board of Directors of the Guarantee Fund of Djibouti. The decree number 2003-11 PRA MEFI of January 17, 2023, modified in January 2023, the statute of a guarantee fund by widening the coverage of the guarantee to the financing of the social housing sector and to all the projects having for main purpose to contribute to the economic and social development of the country. Indeed, the question of housing finance has become a central issue in improving access to housing for the greatest number of households, which makes it difficult for the vast majority of people who are solvent but whose incomes is considered intermediate or low to access housing finance. faced with the difficulties of accessing financing for their first homes, and for many credit-worthy households, the government has put in place a national mechanism to facilitate the granting of financing by commercial banks. In this context, the modification essentially concerned the compositions of the board of directors with the additions of a representative of the State Secretariat in charge of investment and private sector development, and a representative of the Ministry of City, Urban Planning and Housing. This draft decree aims at improving access to financing for affordable housing for more than 2,700 families, but it will also have a positive impact on the national economy through job creation and business opportunities for the private sectors of the building chain. The question 4, draft decree appointing the member of the board of the director of Institute of Statistics of Djibouti. The draft decree has for object the appointment of the member of the board of directors of this Institute of Statistics of Djibouti. The Djibouti Institute of Statistics was created as a public administrative establishment in accordance with the law number 56 EN 19 8L of July 23, 2019 on the legal regime of the public administrative establishment, and decree number 2021-236 PR MEFI on the status of the National Institute of Statistics of Djibouti. Its mission is to implement the government's policy in the field of statistics. This decree therefore seeks to appoint the member of the board of directors of INSTAD in accordance with the provisions of above-mentioned texts. The Ministry of Youth and Culture, the fifth question, draft decree on the organizations and functioning of the National Agency for the Promotion of Culture. The present project of decree is taken in applications of the law number 173 and fixes the organizations and functioning of the ANPC. The mission of this agency is to develop, promote, and preserve the Djiboutian culture in order to inspire, encourage, support the new dynamics of cultural development. This draft decree defines the compositions and the attributions of the different organs of administration and management. This structure will contribute to the development of the cultural promotions in the Republic of Djibouti. The adoption of this draft decree aims at completing the legal arsenal relating to the establishment of the National Agency for the Promotion of Culture.
Let's listen now to the second part of the Council of Ministers.
The sixth question is draft order granting an extension of the plot of land located in Aeron for the benefit of the company Resource Djibouti FZA. The purpose of the draft decree is the attributions to the benefit of the company Resource Djibouti of a plot of land situated in the Aeron allotment and with an area of 6,000 meters square to be incorporated into the TF 8,404. This plot of land is intended for the establishment of a bungalows. The seventh question is draft decree bidding partial expropriation and assignment of a parcel of land located at Pica 12 North for the benefit of the company UCAB Holding. The purpose of the draft decree is the partial expropriation of a parcel of land with an area of 2,000 meters square registered in the land registers in the name of the company UCAB Holding. The said parcel is assigned to the Ministry of Agriculture, Water, Fisheries, Livestock and Fishing Resources and will be put at the disposal of ONIAD for the implementation of a drinking water reservoir. The issue 8, draft order allocating a plot of land located in Dorale to the Society of Société de Gestion du Terminal Conteneur de Djibouti, de Dorale. The purpose of the draft decree is to allocate to the benefit of the management company of the Dorale Container Terminal a plot of land with an area of 8,756 meters square. The said parcel is intended for the establishment of a parking lot for trucks and will be used for the future extensions of the terminal. The ninth question is draft decree allocating plot of land for the benefit of the Ministry of Agriculture, Water, Fisheries, Animal Husbandry, and Fishery Resources. It is assigned to the Ministry of the plot of land located on the Farahad one in Farahad with an area of 1 hectare and the others in Nagad with an area of 2,000 meters square. The said plots of land will be allocated to the ONEAD and are intended both for the establishment of the commercial agency Farahad and the other for the reservoir of drinking water dedicated to the sector of Nagad. The 10th issue, a draft order modifying order number 2021-132 PRMB of 14/11/2021 on the allocations of a plot of land located in Loyada for the benefit of Djibouti Food Company SARL. The purpose of the draft order is to amend order number 2021-132 PRMB on the allocations of a lot of land located at Nagad in Loyada. This one is attributed to Djibouti Food Company SARL. The Minister of Labor in charge of formalization and social protection. The 11th question is draft decree appointing Mr. Idris Ali Sudan is appointed technical advisor of the Minister of Economy and Finance in charge of industry. Mr. Ibrahim Abdi Haddi is appointed Director General of the Institute of Statistics of Djibouti. Mr. Suleiman Umar Ahmed is appointed Director of Public Administration at the Ministry of Labor in charge of formalization and social protection. The 12th question is draft decree on confirmations are confirmed Mr. Mahdi Absiye Bouh, Director of Bilateral Relations at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ms. Zamzam Mohammed Yusuf, Director of Planning and Monitoring Evaluations at the Ministry of Communication, Mr. Bouh Aden Ahmed, Administrative and Financial Director at the Ministry of Communication, Mr. Fahim Ibrahim Ali, Director of Publications of the Journal La Nation at the Ministry of Communication, Mr. Abdelrazak Ali Dirane, Director of the Djiboutian Information Agency ADE at the Ministry of Communication. Communications, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, spokesman of the government, reported on the first Djibouti-Rwanda Joint Commissions held in Kigali from 8 to 10 May 2023. The Minister of Economy and Finance in charge of Industry reported on the 48th annual meeting of the Islamic Development Bank, which was held in Jeddah from 10 to 13 May 2023. The Minister of Defense in charge of relations with the Parliament reported on his participation in the 15th ordinary meeting of the Specialized Technical Committee on Defense, Safety and Security of the African Union, which took place on May 12, 2023 in Addis Ababa. The Minister of Youth and Culture gave a mission report on her participations in the meeting of the Minister of Cultures of the Group 77 plus China within the framework of the first International Cultural Congress of Havana with the theme Cultural Heritage and Sustainable Development, which was held from May 3 to 5, 2023.
The head of state, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, received late Tuesday morning at the Palace of the Republic an emissary bearing a written message from the President of South Sudan, Mr. Salva Kiir. The visit to Djibouti of this missionary, Dr. Benjamin Bol Melkul, and the message he is carrying both relate to a governance of President Salva Kiir wishing a greater consultation in collaboration with President Guelleh around ways and means to find a negotiated solution to the conflict in Sudan. It should be recalled that the presence of Djibouti in South Sudan, together with the Kenyan counterpart Mr. William Ruto, are part of a tripartite presidential colleague in charge of conducting a mission of good offices and mediation between the two main protagonists of the crisis in Sudan with IGAD. The ambassador of South Sudan to the Republic of Djibouti, His Excellency James P.T. Morgan, took part in this audience. At the end of the event, in a speech to the press, he made a point of specifying the general objectives behind the visit of President Salva Kiir's envoy to Djibouti. The moral obligation not to remain passive in the face of the situation in Sudan assigns the leaders of our region to a duty of a greater integration of their efforts dedicated to the search for a peaceful settlement to the Sudanese crisis, he said. The President of South Sudan calls for a greater synchronization of his action in favor of Sudan with President Guelleh as the head of the state of Djibouti is known worldwide for his successful leadership in promoting peace and stability in the region, he continued. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf, and the diplomatic advisor of the head of state, Mrs. Fathiya Jamauddin, also took part in this event. Let's listen now to the missionary of South Sudan, Dr. Benjamin.
My special envoy of my president, His Excellency Salva Kiir Mayardit, bringing greetings to his brother, the President of the Republic of Djibouti. And the message for him was about what can we do as a region to find a solution for the problem in Sudan. The last meeting of IGAD was mandating the three leaders, President Salva Kiir Mayardit of South Sudan, Omar Gule of Djibouti, and President Ruto of Kenya, to find the solution for the Sudan problems. And that is why my president sent our special envoy, Dr. Benjamin Ball, to bring that teamwork. How can they work together, three of them? How can they work together to find a solution for the Sudanese problem? Sudan is our neighbor, our sisterly country, and we cannot just sit and see the situation going on in Sudan. So the visit is to search peace for Sudan through President of the Republic of Djibouti and President of South Sudan, who is my president, and then President of Kenya. They were mandated by IGAD to look for solution. Yeah, that's why we are here.
Pardon me, that was not Benjamin, that was James Pitia speaking. Moving on, this Monday, May 15, 2023, in Johannesburg, South Africa, began the second ordinary session of the 6th Legislature of the Pan-African Parliament. To this end, the Afro-Djiboutian Parliament members, the Djibouti Parliamentary Delegation of the Pan-African Parliament, composed of Honorable Safia Elmi Jibril, Honorable Mahmoud Mustafa Daher, Honorable Hallo Muhammad Ibrahim, the Honorable Abdullah Barakat Ibrahim, and also the Honorable Hussein Muhammad Ali, were sworn in to officially rejoin the August Pan-African Assembly. A regional cooperation program with the contributions of the European Union was organized this morning at the Kempinski Palace for the Digital Government and Cybersecurity, also coordinated for Digital Government and Cybersecurity. This regional action launched in 2022 will take place from May 15 to 18 of 2023 and contributes to the digital strengthening of 4 countries in the Horn of Africa, namely Djibouti, Somalia, Kenya, and Ethiopia. This regional event was honored by the presence of Mr. Abdulrazak Ahmed Idris, General Secretary of the Ministry of Economy and Finance, Mr. Abdullah Ibrahim Umar, Secretary General of the Ministry of Digital Economy and Innovation, the Director of ANC, Mr. Mustafa Mohammed Ismail, representatives of partner agencies of the Horn of Africa. And nowadays, the cyber threat spares no one and no organization. Computer attacks concern and targets everyone on a daily basis. The damage, although not necessarily connected in human lives, can be continued in millions or even billions of years. This is without the mentioning the damage to the image. The third regional technical community on digital and cyber security organized in Djibouti follows the various waves of successive cyber attacks that have occurred in the world and to protect and serve businesses and administrations and their digital activities. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Saleh Benoita Turab, launched the MSupply process for the national management and monitoring of imports for the fight against the 3 diseases at the Djibouti Palace, Kempinski. This ceremony was attended by the representative of the UNDP, Mrs. Eman Guano, Mrs. Pauline Robert, responsible for MSupply, and the director of CAM, Dr. Hassan Abdurrahman. This is an application that will be used by drug stock managers who will be trained on its use. This new method will avoid stock out of essential imports and irrecoverable consequences for the service providers and ensure the patients receive correct and effective treatment. In his speech, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Health emphasized the need to re-establish good practices in the management of health products to avoid the back and forth between different levels of approval of orders for these products. He also seeks users, including providers in healthcare facilities and programs, to make it their own and to find other functionalities that would also interoperability with other platforms on the integration of other health products. Under the leadership of the Ministry of Trade and Tourism, Mr. Mohamed Warsamadiri, the Djibouti Agency for Standards and Quality, which is also known in short as ADN, and COMESA have jointly organized the first ever national high-level awareness seminar on the importance of national quality infrastructure, or in NQI, for the economy, industry, and society. This event launched today and will last 3 days from May 16 to 18, 2023 at the People's Palace. The national quality infrastructure has played a crucial role in supporting the country's economic, industrial, and social development by ensuring the products and services are safe, reliable, and of good quality. The event brought together experts, policymakers, and stakeholders from different sectors of the economy. The main objective was to raise awareness of the essential role of the NQI in promoting economic growth, trade, and consumer protection. The seminar also highlighted the challenge Djibouti faced in establishing and maintaining a strong NQI, as well as strategies to address this challenge. Seminar participants, including government officials, including the Ministry of Commerce, the Djibouti Standards and Quality Agency, as well as representatives from the private sector, regulatory agencies, COMESA, academy, and consumer organizations.
in the country at a national level to interrogate, to sensitize, to establish what would be the priorities for Djibouti in terms of development of its national quality infrastructure. We do recognize that at least the Standards and Quality Assurance Agency has been established, which is a very positive development, but then that is a first step. There's need for resources, there's need for capacity building, there's need for skills transfer, and so forth and so forth. So for the next 3 days, we shall have various presentations, especially today. Some will touch upon the objectives of why we are here. You have seen the concept note, which has been circulated, which provides, again, the background and where we want to go in the next 3 days. And so there shall be also a presentation on that. And during that presentation, we shall also look at yourselves. What are your expectations of why you are here?
The National Authority on Radiological, Chemical and Biological Safety organized this morning an awareness workshop on the radiation protection of workers, patients, the environment, and the use of nuclear techniques for the use of nuclear for peaceful purposes. Chaired by the Director General of the ANRCB, Mrs. Marie, this meeting brought together representatives of various ministerial departments such as Trade, Environment, Agriculture, and Energy, the Djiboutian Armed Forces, the Gendarmerie, and the Coast Guard. The objective of this workshop focuses on the assessment and management of risks related to exposure to ionizing radiation in the workplace environment and in the context of the transport of radioactive substance and and on the other hand, on the mechanisms of cooperation with the International Atomic Energy Agency. During this workshop, participants were made aware of the activities which supervises and regulates the use of nuclear techniques for human health, agriculture, groundwater exploration, environment, mining exploration, scientific research, and industry. A ceremony to inaugurate a sewing training room for people with disabilities was held this morning at the headquarters of the National Network of Disabled People. This project, carried out in cooperation with the National Agency for Disabled People, AMPH, consists in training people with special needs in the field of sewing. This initiative, which is held today, also aims to improve the quality of life of disabled people and allow them to have a better life and to give them the means to improve their daily living condition. This ceremony took place in the presence of the Turkish ambassador in Djibouti and the coordinator of the Turkish Cooperation and Coordination Agency, TICA, the president of the National Network of Disabled People, and the Director General of the National Agency for Disabled People. On Sunday, May 14, the Ministry of Youth and Culture launched a training session on the management of CDCs at the National Library and Archives. Within the framework of the reinforcement of competence and the programming of the activities resulting from a participative reflection relating to the development and the regular use of the CDCs, this training saw the participation of the animators and directors of the CDCs, the persons in charge of volunteer services, the CDCs of the ministry, and the persons in charge of the departments of the theater, of the salt works, and the museums of AMPC, as well as many trainees and representatives of various partners Association of the CDCs. This training will be spread over 5 days under the leadership of Mr. Luc Delamino and Mr. Nicholas Fly, facilitators of this training, and Mr. David Ridon, consultant in cultural and territorial actions, who participated in the coordination and the smooth running of this training project. And finally, to close our national news and on the sport, the Republican Guard Football Club Academy is preparing for the Under-13 World Cup. This year, the academy will participate for the third time in the International Tournament of Soccer Academies. This tournament, which takes place every year in France, brings together young footballers under the age of 13 years from soccer academies around the world. In order to reach the final stages of this tournament, the Football Club Academy of the Republican Guard has recently implemented special activities aimed at strengthening the ball orientation skills and direct play of its team, selected to participate in this international under-13 tournament. It is important to remember that the under-13 team of the Academy of the Republican Guard Football Club has demonstrated during its last participation great soccer performance that have marked the minds of the organizers. Concluding the national news and shifting gears towards the international news now, after 4 weeks of fighting that has left more than 750 people dead and 5,000 wounded in Sudan, rival generals continue their fratricidal war. According to the United Nations World Food Program, 19 million people, or 41% of the population, of the whole Sudanese population actually, could soon be threatened by hunger in Sudan, a country of 46 million people if the conflict cannot be resolved. 41% of the whole Sudanese people, that's near the half of the population. Fighting broke out on April 15 in the capital of Khartoum between the army and parliamentarians whose leaders, two generals, had jointly assumed power in 2021. Well, but these are blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening and thank you once again for joining us. Take care.